Going to the moon. Going to the moon. We're going to the moon.
Screw Kenny, cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them tendies so soon. Don't be mistaken, the apes won't be shaking or breaking because we're going to the moon. Monday, very soon, gonna wake up on the moon. Brand new yacht and a McDonald's in my living room. Bright yellow Lamborghini, 50-meter swimming pool. Champagne every day, hey fam, what you do? Wanna hang, wanna chill? Oh, you got a mansion too? Oh, that's right, held on tight, jack titties every night. We was in way back when they tried to drop it down to 10. And just couldn't comprehend, Ace was strong until the end. Now let's retell it, Citadel they be sweating. Had enough of these felons, but the Ace we rebelling. Cause we never be selling, till we send it to heaven. Now we be out here yelling, hey screw you Kenny. Bought my wife a minivan to share with the boyfriend, but I pull up in the Benz, plate saying all of crayons. Going on an airplane, don't think we'll be back again. Celebrating every day like it's your birthday. Screw Kenny, cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them tendies so soon. Don't be mistaken, the Ace won't be shaking or breaking because we're going to the moon. Screw Kenny, cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them tendies so soon. Don't be mistaken, the Ace won't be shaking or breaking because we're going to the moon. Today's expectation, probably more manipulation. FUD, a creation of a crooked operation. Bought more while it was low, got more dips than Trader Joe's. Oh, you thought that we'd let go? What the hell you take us for? Holla if you spend your last dollar on bananas while living in squalor. We don't claim to be scholars, we the smooth brain dummies, and we never stood taller. Yeah, we do this for love and we do this for honor. Apollo 11 ain't got nothing on us. We the planet of the apes and in MOS we trust. MOASS, oh hell yes. Gonna send it into space, go fire up the jets. Done my DD, call me Elton John, Rocket Man. This is the way, gonna be gorillionaires. Ground control to Major Tom, we about to have liftoff. Call us Neil Armstrong, gonna keep holding on. Screw Kenny, cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them tendies so soon. Don't be mistaken, the Ace won't be shaking or breaking because we're going to the moon. Screw Kenny, cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them tendies so soon. Don't be mistaken, the Ace won't be shaking or breaking because we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon.
Show us the fucking money. It's time to lay it on me. Cause what's mine is ours. This shit belongs to the ape army. Gon' need to see them Benjis. We hungry for them tendies. Give us this day our daily bread. Show us the fucking money.
This ain't financial advice, just a little DD to help you think twice. We hold for each other, eyes on the prize. The new floor's 200,000 times 5. I joke, I kid, no, I don't know a damn thing. I'm as simple as Bubba trying to sell some damn shrimp. Can't spell IQ, can't even count to 10. And I eat crayons every day with my friends. I think about Kenny in his ivory tower, shaking in his lily boots as the apes overpower. Must suck to lose to monkeys, so dumb. But you made your bed and you got nowhere to run. I'd love to be a fly on the wall when he makes the prize fall. And he watching as we keep on more. You forgot we on the float, blind, 2 hours old. Lie, stop breaking the law, asshole.
Show us the fucking money. It's time to lay it on me. Cause what's mine is ours. This shit belongs to the ape army. Gon' need to see them Benjis. We hungry for them tendies. Give us this day our daily bread. Show us the fucking money.
do. Monkey holding to it blue, monkey magic coming through. 3 us monkeys on the moon, double-digit IQ, Tandy loving bamboo. Right here we got more smoothies than a jumbo juice. Probably thought you coulda made us sell all the gooder. In hell we maybe woulda, but we more headed the Buddha. The floor 6 figures ain't selling for less. You took on the ape nation and you're fucking with the best. We hold for each other, my sisters and my brothers, the fighters and the lovers. We don't need another fan because we huddle through hard times and struggle, cause we just a couple of diamonds in the rough.
Show us the fucking money. It's time to lay it on me. Cause what's mine is ours. This shit belongs to the ape army. Gon' need to see them binges. We hungry for them tendies. Give us this day our daily bread. Show us the fucking money.
I'm rich, I'm pretty, got an apartment in the city and a beach house off the coast that costs a couple milli. We are going toe to toe, we be singing while we're winning. By the time I'm 24, it's hard to deal with it. If you got a man, send his brokers back to bed, cause tonight we flying high first class to Japan. Eating sushi, wearing Gucci hot springs, cause we can. Sipping on sake, making $1 million plans. Super yacht, smoking pot with our $1 billion friends. Bright lights, white lines, summer in the south of France. We're going on a plane and we won't be back again, cause we're heading to the moon, screaming catch me if you can. So I'm about a 9, but she thinks I'm a 7. Got money, all of a sudden she thinks I'm 11.
Wow, how much did you make?
Nah, I'll never be telling. Let's just say I went through hell to be living in heaven. Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-cha-cha-cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Make money, middle finger up. Come on, let us sing now. Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-cha-cha-cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Make money, middle finger up. Come on, let us sing now. Middle finger up, come on, let us sing now. Make money, middle finger up, come on, let us sing now. I am fly man, diamonds on the hand. Got money in the pocket, about to pop a rubber band. Fly to an island off the coast of Iran. Got money in advance, so the honeys all dance. Got 25,000 in the duffel out plan. It's a G6 like a taxi cab. Tell your girlfriends that they can bring their friends. Make rain, get paid, go play, full send. Big gold chains even with embargoes. Got diamonds on the neck like Leonardo. You don't even wanna know how fast the car go. When I peel off in the Mercy a Lago. Got foreign doors and marble floors with an army force on the count of 4. Ready, lock and load, let's rock and roll. When we talk it over, it was nice to know ya. So I'm about a 9, but she thinks I'm a 7. Got money, all of a sudden she thinks I'm 11.
Wow, how much did you make?
Nah, I'll never be telling. Let's just say I went through hell to be living in heaven. Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-cha-cha-cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Make money, middle finger up. Come on, let us sing now. Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-cha-cha-cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Make money, middle finger up. Come on, let us sing now. Make money, middle finger up. Come on, let us sing now. Make money, middle finger up. Come on, let us sing now.
Thanks, Daddy.
Welcome to Marantz Rantz, no advice on finance. Spin the wheel and take a chance. Get an NFT and a little education. The system got undertow, that knowledge is flotation. You wanna learn? Well, you came to right place. You're pumping AMC, might get slapped in the face. Get your due diligence, know who the villain is. Don't be a sheep when the shepherd's carnivorous. So come learn, laugh, and maybe you win big. And listen up, y'all, the wheel is not rigged. Everybody get a chance in the live chat. Kyoto spin wheel, you win just like that. Retail fight back and this retail winning. Y'all just wait, man, this is just the beginning. All fellow simians, GME group singing the truth. We just chillin', infinity pool swimming. So welcome to Marantz Rantz. A lot of knowledge but no advice on finance. Don't even need pants, you can tune in naked like Kenny the Mayo Man. Internet's most hated. Don't wanna lose your money, then it's time for you to listen. If you're ignorant, invest in AMC or Superstition. The stream about ready, they told us to don't dance. I do what I want. Welcome to Marantz Rantz. 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 Welcome to Marantz Rantz.
What an amazing day, huh? Today just might be the greatest day in the history of America. And I say that respectfully to America. You guys got to understand capitalism. You got to understand Ryan Cohen. You got to understand GameStop as an investment and what we're doing. So let's go ahead and figure all this out from the start to finish. We've talked about every element about this transaction from GameStop acquiring eBay. And there's a couple things that are happening in the background. And today we had an eye opener at the very end of the day, which is a blessing. Wow. My dogs are excited. They do this from time to time. I'd have to let's address this because hey, we're live and there's no edits or cuts. Let's see what the wife has to say. We'll be like, hey honey, can you find a way to get these dogs to quiet down? Look at that. My dogs are pit bulls, bro. Nope. They don't care about me today. This is the life I live. We got to find a way to keep the dogs quiet, babe. I'm already live. Literally live. Thank you, honey. All right, bye. Well, we'll see if that call... I called the bat channel there. Called the wife. See if the wife can lay down the law out there to the dogs. If you hear dogs crying, bros, we love them. We treat them well. Just, hey, I had a hell of a day. I got all this information at the end of my day, and I didn't even digest it. I have not watched the interview that Ryan Cohen did, an hour-long interview with the All In podcast. I have not watched it. I'm going to watch it with you live tonight. Did I read the 8K? I just read it right now when the music was playing, and so it's pretty awesome. Took my wife. Goodness gracious. Is there a way? Do I got to call my daughter to get them to stop talking? Hopefully that works. I have no idea. Put them outside, bro. Maybe they're just excited like we are. Are you guys not excited? Okay, you're about to be. Took the wife for a walk. We went for a walk, a 2-mile walk in this heat, 105. It's easy, but I have a weighted vest. You know, my daughter bought me a weighted vest for Father's Day. Just what I wanted, man. 12 pounds of pain. And it gets me through. If you run with it, you walk with it, you feel it. So that was cool. And a trash bag. Back on the grind tonight, so I'm excited to do that. That's why I'm sitting here hot. But I'm hot for other reasons. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, guys, let's do this right. Let's just get this right. All right, I got to get my mind right. So let's do it. Welcome back. Welcome back to Marantz Rantz. Plenty of good information, a little bit of motivation, a whole lot of truth, no financial advice. There are board of directors at GameStop that people need to acknowledge and realize who they are. First and foremost, I know you guys want me to talk about Ryan Cohen. I'm not going to talk about Ryan Cohen. I'm actually going to talk about a guy by the name of Larry Chang. So Larry Chang puts out this tweet. If you're looking at the screen, you'll see it now. But Larry Chang puts out this and he says, logging for future reference again. If you're not aware what he did this last year in May. Last year, he put in there institutional ownership at 33.92%. How many shares were outstanding, which is only 2 million more. And then what's the value of those holdings? The value has gone down, by the way. The stock is down today. It's at $21 and some change, which is embarrassing. Oh, for the price of what it is and for the company that it is. But institutional ownership has increased. So people are loading up, is what it's telling you. GameStop when I first started investing into GameStop, they had at the time 98.3% institutional ownership, a percentage of institutional ownership. And that right there blew my mind because it wasn't when I first started buying in, but it was when I first started keeping track of institutional ownership. And then I noticed from like 1 month to the next, it just like went away. Everybody just sold off allegedly. But now everyone's buying in, allegedly. And, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. A couple of things I don't know, or maybe I don't fully understand, is how Ryan Cohen is accumulating GameStop and eBay at the same time. Because, is his money infinite? It must be. To have a leveraged position for Ryan and or to do what is claiming that it's going to be done. I saw a highlight of this video, of this interview. I have not seen the interview in full totality. I just saw the 1-minute clip at the start of it. So then I go, I don't want to see that part. I want to get past the ad and then I want to start it. So we're going to start it right now. We're going to watch it. But before we watch it, we're going to go over the 8K that was released, my ideas on it and what it means, and then everything else that comes with it. So here's the deal. Here's the deal, guys. People need to know who Larry Chang is. and not enough people are talking about Larry Chang. Larry Chang puts out tweets like this. Larry Chang has this allegiance to Ryan Cohen, and GameStop, because he is on the board of directors of GameStop, and he has been since 2021. And Larry Chang was the original seed money for Chewy.com. When Ryan Cohen couldn't find a friend in the world, he already did 100 presentations to say, here's my deck slide, here's what my company's worth, here's the trajectory, here's where it's growing, believe in me. No one did. Larry Chang took the meeting, still didn't believe in him, went another quarter, saw the benefit of it or the increase in numbers, and said, okay, I believe in you, Ryan. Let's go do this. Gave him $10 to $15 million, depends on at the timing. And look what happened with Chewy. They went all the way up, sold for $3.2 billion, and that included Michael Day and Alan Adel and Larry Chang and our guy right here, Ryan Cohen. Okay, got you. So all these guys that are involved at GameStop were the original guys at Chewy. All with the exception of one, who was Michael Day, Blake Day. He's at Volition Capital now, working with Larry Chang. So Larry Chang is big money. What I mean by big money, no, they're not Blackstone, they're not Apollo, they're not Ares, they're not Bain, they're not Carlyle Group. I can go on and on with private equity funds. They're not them. They're venture capitalists, they're VCs, where they put in seed money, maybe angel investing, as you would call it. Maybe that's how you want to name it. But for whatever reason, Ryan Cohen still calls this man a friend, for good reason, I should say. And they partner up and they do a lot of great things. So they talk on all ends. If you guys saw what I started the video with on the start screen, if I go to this start screen right here, I showed you this picture here. So that's Larry Chang on the left, and that is Ryan Cohen on the right. And what do you say you do here? If you don't remember that part of the movie, that was the movie called Office Space, where the consultants walk in and they start cutting up the company. And I've been a part of that before personally myself. But to have Larry Chang in the driver's seat or in the passenger seat, however you want to call it, along with Ryan, I feel very confident with these guys because they manage billions of dollars. They've been successful in numerous investments. And then you have somebody like Nat Turner. Nat Turner has been on the board of directors with GameStop for the last 2 years, officially 2 years. And Nat Turner is the CEO, chairman of the board, and the founder of Collectors Universe. Now, I know Steve Cohen's on that board, and I know there's other money there, but what I love about Nat Turner is that Nat Turner came in with that idea that he is an angel investor, he's a venture capitalist, and wants to help GameStop grow. GameStop proved themselves to him, because what happened to PSA? PSA grew at the most rapid rate in the history of their company. They've been in business for 30 years plus, and now is when they're doing the most that they've ever done. The multiplying factor has been that they had to put in $200 million of their own money of cap expenditures to grow that company, open up offices in other countries, and take in the influx of GameStop orders, which they never saw coming. To partner up with GameStop via an eBay Direct and learn how to onboard these power packs, this partnership has been fruitful. So Ryan has done all the right partnerships, all the correct moves. Yeah, we made mistakes along the way. GameStop, the company, but Ryan Cohen is a man that can overcome those mistakes. I think I told you guys this. Well, I know I did 5 years ago. I said, no matter the mistakes Ryan Cohen makes, the best part about it is he's young enough and rich enough to correct them. There are people who make mistakes late in life and they can't recover, financially can't recover. So I'm all in with Ryan, and that's fitting for the podcast he did tonight. But the next part about this that people need to understand is he has a leadership team that's his right-hand mans and connected with him. They all understand what he's trying to do. And what is he really trying to do? He's trying to prove to the world that you can do things the right way. The biggest problem that you'll have with people is they avoid the truth. They would rather go with the status quo and not fight the system because the system is there to benefit whom? Whoever put it together. It's not the new guys. It's you're a complete outsider at this point. Ryan's an outsider. Ryan built a company. He built something from scratch, and they took it from him. And he realizes that now. Yeah, he sold it. And yes, he wouldn't be where he's at today if he didn't decide that. But he had the opportunity to beat out even more and grow and keep going. Maybe he got tired, or maybe he saw the end of the road and said, this is the largest e-commerce acquisition ever. Let's just take care of it now. But we never knew that we'd be here today with an even larger e-commerce acquisition. So, and one that just happens to be 200 times bigger, 100 times bigger, whatever it will end up being. So I just wanted to give that all that background so you guys understand why I support Ryan Cohen, or why I support what GameStop's doing as a whole. Ryan is a difference maker. He's a disruptor. He's just that. He comes in and he wants to change the way you view things. You ever get around those people who ask why all the time? It's not that they are questioning authority. They literally want to know. They just want to know. So why can't we do these things? Why can't we do this takeover? Why can't we succeed and win in a market that is prime, is made to pigeonhole you and push you down in a black hole? Guys, if you invested in the GameStop for the last 5.5 years, like myself, what do you have to show for it other than accumulating shares? I've always said this, I gain every day. I gain more shares. Yes, there's knowledge and fortitude, all of the things that protect me from the ebb and flow of markets. But I'll tell you something, man. If you are not the best investor that you've ever been in your life because of this investment, then you've been doing it wrong. I saw kids out there publishing, you guys got me wrong on this SpaceX. I put all my money into calls because you said it was going to rocket, and now it's down from $225 a share all the way down to $150. What the hell did I get wrong? I just lost my life savings. No, these are kids trying to hit it rich, trying to get big, fast. So all these investments have been, AMC, I'll give you an example. You had these guys with no shins. You had guys out there with fat bellies and hairy faces. And what are they telling you? AMC is going to go to $5. AMC's on a run. It just hit $3. Yeah. Dilution. Boom. 96 million shares again. So when you go 96 million shares, remind yourself that you times that by 10, reverse stock split style. And that literally is 1 billion shares added to the float from the previous float. So there's just so many things that I look at, distractions on the market, that I don't even take part in. You guys didn't see it today. There was a hit piece on GameStop via Lululemon. Lululemon put out guys, I got to show you before we even get into all the other good stuff. Because this right here cannot be overlooked. These are the things that you guys need to pay attention to. Because if you're not, then you're going to be like, oh, no, it was normal. That's okay. No, watch this. This is not okay. This is very bad what happened. I thought this was going to be the talk of the show when I first got to it. And then I said, wait a minute, this is even worse. So it's right here. So they're giving you a full detail run on Lululemon here on this post. And in here, if you start reading, it tells you the company can do something about former blah, blah, blah. They're talking about Lululemon. They're trying to blame Nike, by the way. But look at this. At the same time, all three channels, company-operated stores, e-commerce, and other channels all experienced revenue growth for the quarter. Out of nowhere, they put GameStop. Out of nowhere, they write GameStop. Like, you didn't even have to include the word GameStop, but here's what they do. This is what they published to you guys, news details. GameStop has a $9.49 billion market cap on $3.73 billion in trailing 12 revenue. Meanwhile, Lululemon has $11.97 billion in market cap and $11 billion in revenue. So they're trying to tell you that GameStop trades at 2.5 times revenue compared to Lululemon's 1. How ridiculous is this? Very. So that's what they put on their website. Anything to attack GameStop. Any article that had no business, you had no business talking about GameStop in that article, but yet you come out and you say some nonsense that people would be like, hey, there's a good point. Lululemon trades at X, Y, and Z. And matter of fact, watch this, guys, just so we're clear. Let's go ahead and look at the difference between Lululemon and GameStop and why they trade that way. Lululemon, right here, $12 billion market cap, which is more than GameStop's. Net income of $146. You got that right. Out of the $11 billion in sales. So when you go to Lululemon and you say, look at these ratios. They're amazing ratios, Marantz. There's 8 8P ratio. You got to buy this damn thing. What did I tell you guys 5 years ago? What did I tell you 3 years ago, 2 years ago? I told you that it was peaking at an all-time high. I did this video. I said it's way up here in 2023. I said there's no way it's a $500 stock. From making those videos, it's down to 100. It's lost 80%. So yeah, there might be a buy of the century for some people who like Lululemon. But if you know the financials and you know the people who run this company, you're going to go look at this and say, okay, what am I missing out on? What don't I understand that their net income is shrinking every quarter? So you can tell me how great it's been, but how great was it compared to what it is now? I'm telling you there's a trend here. The trend is down 60% to 54, 28% to 11, 20% to 7, 32% to 3. They're sucking it dry. Pause. Now you go to balance sheet, and they only have $1 billion. They've burned off $500 million in the span of 6 quarters. So $100 million at a piece at a time. And as you come down, you go ahead and look at it, total assets, 8.5, total liabilities. They have a negative net cash to debt position. And why? Because you come in here and you look at something like this and you go, okay, they owe some money. They have some money on deck. You see where it's at, and it's right here. Shareholder equity, $4.8 billion. So to go from $4.8 billion to where they're at today, you look at book value, $41 a share. So is this everything you want to get out of this damn stock? Are they upside down? Are they negative? Or is it a bad investment? It's not a bad investment just yet, but it's headed in one direction. While their debt has increased $600 million, they're shrinking across the board. It's just showing you a trend. Maybe they can switch it. Maybe they can turn it around. Maybe they can get it right. But am I investing for that when it's been proving me wrong? I'm investing in something that's been proving me right the other way. That's the only difference. So it's kind of shady to throw GameStop in on that list when those guys have been down for 6 consecutive quarters and GameStop's been up for 6 consecutive quarters. So that's a problem. All right, so enough of that about the misdirection. Let's talk about the good stuff. Here is Ryan Cohen. Now, let me size this up because I have a video coming to you guys after. We'll do the video after. We'll size up the video after. Man, I got so many layers of this damn thing. Here we go. I had to find it. All right. Ryan Cohen, our boy. So let's talk about the good stuff for all of you guys. You guys are GameStop investors? So am I. I pray you guys are GameStop investors like me. The first thing is this, guys. I don't have much excess cash. I have been very frugal and tight. I've had no choice. We had a hardship in the family. My wife hasn't worked for 6 months. It's not by choice. It's certain things that have happened to us as a couple. And as you know, if you guys understand the difficulties that I put us in by making these videos and doing this channel, people don't understand what that means. There's a lot of things that are frowned upon, a lot of letters that get written, and you get called into boardrooms and people ask, why do you make this content? Why do you make these videos? You make enough money. You don't need to make money off the internet. Something to that effect. And I was like, it's not about the money. It's about the truth. If you focus on the truth, it will lead you somewhere. Maybe this is a calling. Maybe I enjoy doing this, but my hobbies shouldn't cost me my career. And it has. And so I'm here now looking at my wife. My hobbies cost her her career. It's something that we both jointly agreed to and we talked about. But I said, hey, honey, if you let them control you now and control what we do, they're going to control you forever. So I haven't been able to buy GameStop shares since January. And has it messed with my mental? No. I found a new calling. I found a better way to deal with my time. Yeah, I only go live for 1 hour a night. Tonight's way different. Tonight, we're going to be live 3 hours, guys. 2 to 3 easy. So if you're in European hours right now, go to bed. I'll see you tomorrow on the run back. You don't have to hang out. But there's so many things that my wife and I have had to deal with by doing this that I'm just happy she's all in on me as a person. That's the biggest thing for me. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get to what the good stuff is and why we're going to promote this and talk about this tonight. Ryan Cohen. Ryan Cohen is the man. And in here, they did an 8K, which is a press release. And the press release here tells you that today announced that its board of directors, the board, has granted the request of Ryan Cohen. It's a Ryan Cohen request. Now, some people are going to tell you they got the proxy vote results in or wherever they're headed and it wasn't going to pass. I'm going to call bullshit on that. I'm going to tell you no. It's just from my opinion versus the people I poll and talk to, we have a lot of votes, plenty of votes. So I don't think it was a voting thing. I think this is strategic, and I'm going to explain why in a minute. The chairman and CEO to amend the company's proxy statement to remove the proposed CEO Performance Award. When the board approved the CEO Performance Award in January, the company had not yet decided to pursue an acquisition of eBay. Furthermore, if you do this, Mr. Cohen stated that he wants leadership to fully focus on GameStop's operating performance and its proposed eBay acquisition. Additional details can be found on the website, by the way, no, in the SEC filings. But this is the part I like at the very end. It says GameStop will release additional materials regarding proposed acquisition of eBay this week. That means tomorrow. Okay? They don't put out the 8K to give you a heads up first until they're ready to do it. I think it's happening tomorrow after hours. My personal opinion. Do I think the stock's going to rocket? I think it should anyway. Always. It should not be at 21. I'm not telling you to go buy calls either. Your 0 DTEs, days to expire calls. I'm not a gambler. I'm just happy to buy my $14 like I did today. Now, we'll be including a detailed presentation of the strategic rationale and operational plan for the combined company. Contact GameStop if you have any more questions. Now, there is a whole gambit in here of information, of legalese you can read, which is pretty awesome. I want to focus on one, and it tells you here that GameStop beneficially owns right here, beneficially owns the 4.3 billion shares. 4.3 billion is a big number. If you guys are familiar with how much these shares cost, about $110 a share. Now, and I'm ballparking the number. I'm just doing it for argument's sake. They also have economic exposure to 39 million shares via calls and puts. Guys, they own almost 10%. 10% of a company that they rated out at 56 billion. That means they've gobbled up 5.5 billion. That'd be at the rate of 125. Maybe 6 billion of this stock. They were offering 27 billion cash, 27 and a half. So for me, as I look at this company, I think to myself, GameStop has just picked up, allegedly, from the strike price of the calls and everything you see, they picked up 43 million, 300, whatever, 43 million shares at a discount. That's huge. That means you're losing $500 million if you're eBay, at least. But we'll keep going. What was announced is that GameStop is going to propose this package. I say tomorrow. It could be the next day, but there's only so many days in a week. What's the significance of this package and why take back your pay plan? My opinion, I have not read anybody's opinion. I haven't gone over anybody's explanation of this. I'm telling you mine because I look at deals a certain way. When you do a letter of intent, okay, an LOI, letter of intent, for a merger and acquisition. And I told you guys before, you're going to have reps and warrants. So representations and warranties that are contingent to the plan. So you have a purchase agreement. On that purchase agreement, there are going to be pages of reps and warrants, which I'm fine with. Everything that's going to be in there, whether it be IP, intellectual property, deals that you have done with other vendors, and partnerships along the way. You got to disclose everything, even legal issues. You're going to have to disclose all of that. What's going to happen in there is what I feel the hurdle on presenting a package to eBay is that Ryan Cohen is insulating himself with an anti-takeover measure via a benefits package where he gets to accumulate shares at $20 a pop. Okay. Why would eBay agree to that pay package? They wouldn't. And one of the stipulations of GameStop acquiring eBay and working together as a partnership just might be, hey, Ryan, here's a hurdle we got. There's some investors here that think this is not beneficial for them. That's a very lucrative deal that you have there, but it's Why should eBay investors have to pay for the GameStop plan that you guys approved? We didn't approve it. Okay. Well, now that we're going to take over this company, can we do it after the fact and get a vote then? We can. And there's no rush to get there. So let's eliminate the hurdle today. Let's take out everything, all the prerequisites that you have, all the concerns that you're arising. We just eliminated all of it. What is left? What can the skeptics say? What? GameStop share price is down. I got that part. But should it be down? Not at all. Not at this price. But imagine if you're eBay. It would behoove you to do this deal now to get more value out of GameStop than what's going to happen in the near future. Every quarter you wait is another quarter that you're going to get raked over the coals. And it's not just GameStop shares that go up in value. It's your eBay shares not hitting 125. And if you want to know what's aligned with shareholders, why don't you go ask the board of directors of eBay why every C-suite and board of director are selling shares for less than 125 if they deem their company worth more than that. So these are easy arguments, easy ones to win. They're trivial arguments if you ask me. But Ryan took it off the table for argument's sake? No, it's a leverage. It's here's the deal, here's the negotiation, and here's how we can reconcile. Now, what they say in closed doors or what they do after the fact, this is not GameStop doing a deal with board of directors and saying, here's what we got. We got an idea. It's not like you and your wife going home saying, I think we're going to buy this car. No. There are lawyers and advisors, strong M&A advisors, that are contacting eBay, and they're soliciting themselves, their own business, to say, okay, here is the proposal. Here's what we're putting together. And they're throwing out fillers. Tell us what you want, or what would you want? What is comfortable? What's your asking price? Explain it. Because you can't get a deal done until two people agree to something. And you're never going to agree to anything until you gather information. It's called fact-finding, recon, all of the above. So throwing out a filler is great. Now when they come back, they say nothing other than it's unattractive and it's not credible. Cool. We agree. It's unattractive and it's not credible. But here's what's about to happen. We're going to offer shares or we're not. We don't have to offer shares. We have enough cash. We have enough position, because that's what's going to be coming out of this the most. What's really, I think people are going to understand, is that GameStop has always been the biggest investment on the block. It's the bully. It's got the most cash. It has real cash behind it. Ryan Cohen is liquid along with his other investors elsewhere. If people don't understand the value of Ryan Cohen, then you guys better check and poll who is the largest individual shareholder of Apple stock in the world, who additionally owns $1 billion of Alibaba and who owns over $1 billion at GameStop. You better ask yourself, and you better realize just how great this entrepreneur is. He's a builder, he's a leader, and he's a deal maker. He's been making deals the whole time. So that's how I view it. Take the leverage off the table. They now have nothing to complain about. It's one of those things you do in a deal. What is it that's going to close this deal for you? I'm only going to hook up with you if you chew with your mouth closed. Awesome. I don't even chew. I do a liquid diet. We're hooking up. That's the idea. Anyway, let's go get back to it, guys. Thank you for all the jewels. I appreciate you guys. Jewels. I don't even know what they all do, but I'm just thankful that you guys have them. A lot of you guys got free jewels, so you're able to send me free jewels. That was pretty cool. All right, let's go watch this video together. Guys, this is Ryan Cohen's interview tonight that he did.
Everyone hates GameStop, and it seems like everyone
doing something all in. We get $10 this year. Visit.
Let me set it all up because we're here now. All right, so let me move the camera. Let me make sure we're good. All right, guys, go get your popcorn. Go get your beers. Go get something. I'm going to make myself real small. That's what she said. No, right there. Okay, cool. So we're here. We're good right there. Okay. And now we're going to push play and ignore my commentary, or try to. Guys, I have not watched this video. I'm going to watch it with you right now. Let's go.
Visit applovin.com/all-in to launch your first campaign today.
I'm going all in.
Ryan Cohen, welcome to the All In interview. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I think it's been like a decade, which is crazy how old we get since you and I last had dinner in New York. This was before several chapters of your life unfolded. And it's great to be talking with you today. You're doing something really interesting right now, trying to acquire and run eBay, which obviously is a big story right now that takes us back 25, 30 years to the start of the internet. But I want to talk a little bit about your story first, if that's okay. And I'd love for folks that are watching this or listening to this to learn a little bit about you and the journey you've been on that brings you to this moment. Maybe we can go back to the business you started, Chewy, if that's okay.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, well, maybe tell me why you started Chewy. How'd you get that idea and how'd you get into building this business from where you were coming from at that time?
We were wanted to build something online, and we were about to launch an online jewelry website. Did not know anything about jewelry, went to a bunch of trade shows, bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of inventory, built the website, had the distribution, and then I was shopping in a neighborhood pet store. I had a poodle, and I was going every few weeks, and it just hit me on one of my trips that I understood the product much better. It was a recurring revenue purchase. The market was still fragmented. The fact that there was still neighborhood pet stores at the time and they had not been disrupted by Petco and PetSmart was fascinating to me. And then you had Amazon, which was established and had pet products since the 90s, but they hadn't really achieved real scale in the category. So the vision was to replicate the same experience that I had at the neighborhood pet store, but do it online and do it at scale. And I looked at Amazon's best practices when it came to supply chain. So fast shipping, having a great selection, being competitively priced, and then the experience at the neighborhood pet store of knowing the products really well. And it was easy to be passionate about the pet category because I'm a pet owner and everyone we hired were pet owners. And it was all about market leadership. It was a low margin business. Hindsight, not necessarily the best idea to go head to head against Amazon, selling 30-pound bags of pet food. But
real quick, guys, just so you guys know, the All In podcast has over 1 million subscribers and over 25,000 views already on this video in 5 hours. So GameStop is very top of mind. Ryan Cohen, when he speaks, people want to watch and listen. So, he made it happen throughout all these years. He's been extremely successful. So I don't know why people are betting against this man. We'll check him out.
we executed really well and we grew really quickly. And we had negative working capital. And so it was a business that was able to get billions of dollars in revenue and not consume a lot of capital.
How did you learn to execute well? So at the time, you had little business experience prior to that. How did you learn those skills? What were the principles and the values that made you excellent at operating that business?
I'll bully this guy, by the way.
From the beginning that the real competition was always Amazon, and they were world-class when it comes to supply chain. So negotiating very fiercely with suppliers to get the best product costs. And that meant getting to scale and going from buying pallets of dog food to truckloads of dog food and moving from distribution to direct and buying. Generally, the more you buy, the lower the prices are going to be. Operating efficiently in the warehouses. And so labor optimization, warehouse management optimization, getting competitive prices with shipping carriers. It was a game of pennies. And the goal was to grow quickly and establish market leadership. And the difference between failure and success was, pennies in the red is failure and pennies in the black is success. So we had to operate hyper efficiently, and there was a lot of competition in the space. It wasn't a novel idea. It was going head to head against Amazon, and pets.com was in the backdrop. So it made it very difficult to raise capital, but I'd say at a high level, the market underestimated not the size of the addressable market, but our execution.
As a customer, I've had lots of dogs. It was always such a great consumer experience. Did you personally put your finger on that, or did you bring great people around you that understood consumer? Apart from the supply chain optimization, the labor optimization, getting the cash flows to work right, was there a lot on the consumer product angle that you spent time on with that business?
When we looked at the cohorts, you could see the customers were very sticky. And I looked at it. The reason why I moved from jewelry to pet food was because it was a recurring item. So I love the fact that it was consumable. And when we started Chewy for the first few years, we just focused on food, treats, litter, all of the things that people are buying all the time. So the vision and the idea was, if we treat our customers well, they're going to continue shopping with us. And that's what we did. And so it was everything from the handwritten holiday cards to the pet portraits to 24/7 customer service. And if there was ever an issue, we took care of the customer. And that's what happened. And the customers continued shopping with us. And the best referrals are word of mouth. And pet owners love to tell their friends and fellow pet owners if they have a great experience. So the thesis ultimately played out.
So for those who don't know, you built and sold the business in 2017 for $3.35 billion. Subsequently, there was an IPO, and that business continued to trade up in value. So you clearly executed well. But help me understand, how did you build and manage the leadership team, the management team, and the people around you to execute so well? What did you learn as a manager, as a CEO, as an operator when you were building Chewy?
Staying on top of everything. Just it's 24/7, watching all of the numbers. I mean, I would stay in Google AdWords till 4 or 5 in the morning, managing campaigns myself. I was negotiating directly with all of our major suppliers. I had a supplier that told me during one of our negotiations, actually, said it was like a 1 year contract. And he's like, "I'm so happy this is over. I never have to talk to you it was basically another year." He's like, "I don't have to speak to you for the next year." I was like, that was a compliment. And anytime someone else was doing the negotiation, I mean, it's counterintuitive. They want to build relationships with suppliers. The reality is it's mostly transactional. And so if our suppliers are sending us gifts in the mail, that's a really bad sign. It means we're overpaying. If our suppliers are telling us they never want to speak to us again, it means we're getting the right price. But getting people into that framework is not easy, because the path of least resistance is basically to get along and to be nice. But unfortunately, when you're building a business and you're losing money, you got to focus on sustainability. So just being on top of everything.
And what about on people? I'm just trying to understand your skill as a manager of people, because clearly you did something right. You continue to execute at GameStop, which we'll get to in a minute. And I'm trying to understand, how do you find great people, and how do you hold people accountable, and what are management techniques that you've developed for building a team and running a team?
I look for will over skill. And I had a woman that was running customer service, as an example, and she came from she was working in like an old people's home, and she applied for the job many times, and we didn't think she was qualified. And we looked over her resume, and she kept on applying. She was relentless. So on paper, she didn't necessarily have the right experience, but she had drive. She was motivated. She wanted to work, and she ended up being incredible. So, I mean, it was finding people that are diehards that are just willing to put everything in, go all in, no pun intended, and basically be as psychotic as me. And that was the team that we put together. It was just a bunch of fellow psychopaths.
And psychopaths attract psychopaths, and the engine is running at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah. A's only put up with A's.
Exactly.
Yeah. And do you regret selling Chewy when you did? Because, I mean, it went public at like, what, 20 billion market cap, like 2 years later? I mean,
yeah, as soon as I sold it, it just it took off.
Like, it's like, were you a liability? No, I'm like, what happened?
Well, I mean, you know, typical if you talk to the investment bankers there, we're like, you know, we're getting an amazing price, and then all of a sudden it goes public and there's basically a lot more than what anyone had guessed. So nobody has a crystal ball. Chewy was my baby. I put a lot of, I love that business. And so, yeah, and everything works out for a reason in life, one way or another.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be having this conversation.
So, yes, Ryan, I totally agree. He wouldn't be having the conversation. It's everything I told you guys in the past about Ryan. I feel he realized what was happening to him at Chewy and what people tell you to get you out of your company and your dream. And that's not going to happen this time. It's just not going to happen. So just want to, for the record, Ryan, you said you have a bunch of maniacs working for you. I agree, because I'm an absolute maniac for GameStop. I don't have to work for the company at all. I'm just a maniac. And I believe in it. And I believe in you. And I tell the world every day. And nothing's ever changed. You know how there's like those people, they call them Jesus freaks? Like, oh, they're just Jesus freaks. Like, yeah, you can call us that. But we just believe in the Lord. And we believe in the message. And that's what happens. And I remember my mom was that way. And she was so intrigued and she wanted to tell the world. And I was like, hey, now I understand it, Mom, because I'm so intrigued and I want to tell the world about Ryan Cohen and GameStop. I'm a maniac. Let's go. By the way, eating my fruit platter, my vegetable platter. That's my dinner.
If I was still running Chewy, so or at least maybe we would, but it would be about dog food.
It might be
something.
We'd be talking about how you built $100 billion market cap dog food company, but
exactly.
So after you sold it, you kind of became a pretty active investor. Is that a fair statement about the next chapter for you?
I went activist for the first time. Yeah, that's an accurate statement.
Well, you were like a pretty active, like just general, like you would buy and hold concentrated positions in stocks. Is that fair at that stage? How did you pick companies? So what do you look for and how did you make the investments you made? Maybe you can walk us through a couple of the stories of what you went through at that stage.
I looked for established businesses that have a strong historical track record of making money and typically are out of favor when it comes to passive or activist kind of investments. And so that's been my general framework.
Why did you choose to go activist when you kind of started making these? Were you getting frustrated in conversations with management, decided to take it public, or was there a model that you were kind of going after where you saw others have success with publicly calling out issues in businesses and driving change?
Well, when it came to GameStop, originally it was a passive investment and I owned under 5%, and the CEO actually reached out to me because they were fighting an activist and they wanted me to join the board. They thought I was basically going to be their friend. They're like, oh, this guy owns a few percent of the company and let's give him a board seat and he'll help us basically fend off this activist. And so they kind of put the idea in my head.
This is around 2020, right?
It was, yes, exactly. So I wasn't in a place, my father had just died recently and they offered me a single board seat. And I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I looked at the board and they had a really large board, and they're offering me a single board seat, and it just wasn't attractive. And then, COVID, things got a lot worse. They were deemed a non-essential store, basically like kind of on the verge of bankruptcy. The stock traded down significantly. And then I continued accumulating. I ended up going above 5%. At that point, I needed to decide, am I going to file a G or a D? A 13G is basically if you want to be passive, which means you're not going to engage with the management team at all. And a D is where you are going to engage with them. So that was an easy decision once I crossed over 5%. And I remember actually getting a call from the CEO of GameStop at the time, and he's like, yeah, we were discussing me going above 5% and filing the required SEC forms. And he's like, did you file a D or a G? And I'm like, a D. And a D obviously is, it's intended that you're going to be activist. Even though it doesn't necessarily mean you need to be hostile, it just means you're going to engage with the management team. So anyway, basically that was what happened.
But going back to GameStop, how did you first identify GameStop? Because the kind of storyline is, hey, Wall Street Bets put something on the internet and everyone starts paying attention to it and becomes a meme stock. Was there fundamental unrealized value you saw? Because you seem to be a real kind of unrealized value investor is how I would kind of describe. Tell me if you disagree, that there's real value in an organization that's not being realized its potential. What did you see in GameStop? How did you first identify it and get involved and start accumulating?
I found it fascinating that everybody was like, for whatever reason, and still to this day, everybody hates like the mainstream media, the general consensus has been that GameStop was going out of business like a long time ago, right? Like 15 years ago. This thing was basically shorted to oblivion, and everyone was betting against it, and everyone's basically just hated it. It's one of those things where when you even say GameStop, everyone's like, ugh, like, really? You're an investor in GameStop? So that's always, for as long as I remember, that's basically been the reputation, is like the underdog. Everyone loves to take the other side of the trade or bet against it. And so I like that. Like, I like the idea of going into a situation where you're basically running into a burning house. And I originally did it as an investor, because typically that's where you see opportunities, is when there's a lot of pessimism and fear. And then, I ended up basically not necessarily intentionally joining the board and then ultimately being the CEO. But that wasn't the original plan. The original plan was basically to be a passive investor. And then I basically ended up it's like there was no one else to do the job. So someone needs to do it. And here we are today.
Was there a thesis on value realization, or was it just about the market had the value wrong? Did you think at the time there was operational changes that could drive more value? Or was it just like, hey, everyone's got this shorted, everyone's got this to the wrong side?
The original thesis was that there's an upcoming console cycle and that they're probably going to survive until the upcoming console cycle. And the new PlayStation and Microsoft Xbox comes out. And it was a very cyclical business. And GameStop typically does very well in the beginning of the console cycle when the market is very, very tight and people are basically running to GameStop to buy hardware and software. And so that was the original thesis. And then as I got pulled in, obviously the business is completely different and the thesis has changed. But that's where I started as a passive investor.
So then they ask you to join the board, but you make the point, hey, if I'm going to be involved, I need to have more board seats. Is that kind of how the evolution
happened? They thought I was
got
basically just going to join the board and be a patsy.
Right. And then you
said,
said,
you probably picked the wrong guy. I think that was going to be the case.
All right. So then you went public with your views. Is that right? And you kind of, so I think it was 2021, like early 2021, you joined the board with two other executives from Chewy, two friends of yours or two colleagues of yours. Is that right?
Exactly.
And then the stock took off and all of the hedge funds that were short had to cover and the stock price just ripped.
Exactly.
And this is the whole story. So then in 2021, the company raises $1.7 billion, wipes out all the debt. And what was the plan at that point in the business cycle? Was there an investment operating plan that you were trying to get the team to execute against?
The original plan, I learned a lot at GameStop. I went in and I had this bias from Chewy, which is basically like everything that I learned at Chewy, I was going to apply to GameStop. And it took me about, I don't know, maybe just over a year to realize that was really, really stupid. But I ended up hiring a bunch of e-commerce people from Chewy and Amazon. And I wasn't the CEO. I hired a CEO. So, I didn't have day-to-day visibility on what was going on. But the strategy was to make GameStop more like Chewy. And that was the wrong strategy. And once I became the CEO, I quickly adjusted because, I just, frankly, I looked at the financials and saw it didn't make any sense. And then it was, went into maniacal cost-cutting mode, efficiency, basically focusing on what GameStop is really good at, which is the pre-owned side of things, and focused on running the retail business very, very well. And then ultimately that led us to the category of collectibles, which today the business is a leader in the collectibles category, and software makes up a very small percent of the business. But there were a lot of learnings on the way. And you look at basically Chewy and GameStop, you say, well, they're both retailers. You take the same playbook, but that was not the case. Totally different animal. And, one is you've got repeat purchases and you've got these really sticky cohorts. And, we can never overbuy inventory, for instance, at Chewy, because we would end up ultimately selling it. The revenues were growing and we turned the inventory very quickly, whereas we ended up buying all kinds of inventory at GameStop and ended up having a bunch of TVs and inventory that ends up getting stuck in the stores. And if you don't sell it, you end up basically taking down, losing a lot of money and marking it down. So a lot of learnings along the way for me to understand physical retail, which when I joined the board, when I became CEO, I had zero physical retail experience. So,
did you think a lot about?
Just so we're clear, to the kid in the chat who asked the Bed Bath & Beyond question, you are gone, and you will not be looked for ever again. OC Hitters, thanks for the one message. Now back to GameStop and eBay and Ryan Cohen. Appreciate you guys.
Here are the different categories we could leverage this GameStop network, the stores, the consumer into, besides collectibles. How did you kind of pick the expansion into collectibles versus any other sort of used category you might be able to kind of move into?
We were already in the category. We weren't deep in the category. And we did try a few different other things within consumer electronics that just really didn't end up taking off like collectibles did. And, if you look at TCG in particular, but now we're growing in sports as well, has been very, very, very popular. So we tried a few different things, and the trade-in model especially, worked really well, where like today you could basically bring in you can bring in a graded PSA card 8 and above, and we will give you cash on the spot. We buy back the card, and then we either sell it in the store or we bring it back to our warehouses and we sell it online. So that was very similar to the trade-in model that we had on both hardware and software, and it was very extendable to the trading cards category as well.
As you made this change, did you have to change the team a lot, management team? I mean, what was the turnover like after you became CEO at the leadership level and then below the leadership level?
It was identifying the talent at the company and basically having them working directly with them. Like the people who know GameStop the best have been the people that have been there for a long time. And me working closely with them ended up working really well.
You brought in others, obviously, as well to complement them.
Yeah, some. But I mean, generally, working with the people that have been there that know the business really well.
Yeah. Some folks who have managed multiple businesses or been CEO and applied their skills to different business lines. I interviewed this guy, Charles Koch, a few weeks ago from Koch Industries. He's got a whole set of principles that he tries to apply to running a business. And those principles he's used to build and acquire and operate multiple different kinds of businesses. And he transforms the business by applying his principles to how he runs them. Do you have a similar sort of framework or model or machine that you use for running the business, assessing what's working and what's not working, that you then bring to bear on GameStop, on Chewy, and maybe next on eBay that you've used repeatedly that works well for you? Or is everything kind of truly Zen mind, beginner's mind, first principles approach to thinking about the business?
I'm sure I do, but I'm not good at articulating it. So I don't know if I'm the right person to be able to say what's going through my brain. Sometimes like whatever I'm feeling, I can't even necessarily describe it. And if I describe it, it ends up being wrong. So someone else could probably do a better job at answering that question than me.
I want to point out, guys, that this is the most articulate I've ever heard Ryan. I've seen Ryan in interviews in the past when he was talking about Chewy, very lit up, and his dialect and his tone was his cadence was correct. And I actually see bits and parts of that right now. If you've ever seen a Ryan Cohen interview, he's very monotoned in his deliveries, deliberate. So with the intention that he has now with this interview, this is eye-opening for me. This makes me feel so much better about GameStop, my investment, which I already feel amazed. Like there's no way I can feel better, right? No, I do. This right here, this interview and the way he is presenting himself is everything you want for a future leader. This is better than Elon Musk. This is better than Alex Karp. This is better than Jensen Hung, better than anyone I've seen that run these trillion-dollar companies. He's absolutely in lockstep with what he wants to communicate, and it's awesome for me.
What do you think someone else that's worked for you repeatedly would say it's like to work with you?
You'd have to ask them.
Okay. So
hopefully
let's go
not good things. Hopefully not good things.
Yeah, the pressure is on.
I'm going all in.
As the global economy becomes more connected, trust becomes the most valuable asset in thriving. Find out more at Nevert, at GameStop. I think collectibles is now 42% of revenue. $350 million. In Q1, revenue was $835 million. You grew at 14% year over year. You cut SG&A from 228 to 202. You have $9.7 billion in cash, $333 million in free cash flow. And the board's just authorized a share repurchase. So it's pretty tremendous how you've operated this business. So help me understand a little bit, as you're building GameStop, operating it and executing, what makes you lift your head up and say, hey, we should be doing acquisitions and looking at other things instead of just building everything organically in-house?
If you look at the size of the business that I can build organically with GameStop, it's nice, it's okay, but I like to do big things. And, Chewy is a good example. It could have been a $500 million business. It could have been a $100 million business. It could have been profitable if we would have spent a lot less money on marketing. But life is too short to do it small. So we have if you look at how complementary And as we've gone into the collectible space, I've come to appreciate eBay differently. And if you look at how complementary these two businesses in, from a lot of different dimensions, the secondary market side of the business, the collectible side of the business, the ability to provide liquidity to consumers, what we're doing in stores, eBay is doing online, authentication of secondhand items. There's so many aspects of the business that are similar, except that eBay is global and has significant scale. And frankly, it's a business that I understand a lot better than physical retail, because I know a thing or two about e-commerce, and it's an area where, frankly, I'm much more comfortable operating. And so when you look at how much the businesses together make sense, and then you look at the fact that it's within my circle of competence, it's all, I can't stop thinking about it. So I look at Chewy as like, Chewy in hindsight, we had a lot of competition in the pet space that were really well funded and they were decent operators, and they didn't end up making it because, you know, it was a low margin business going head to head against Amazon. And it's similar to like the airline industry, where people don't really care about the actual airline they're flying. They're just basically shopping by price. So
yeah,
that was selling pet food online. Not a great idea. And, you know, GameStop, I don't think was such a good idea either. This is actually a really good idea, whether it ends up working out or not, but this is actually a really good idea. We'll see what happens.
Was there a moment you remember when you said, we should make a play for eBay? Do you remember that moment when you were kind of looking at the business or thinking about the business when this idea kind of sprung forth?
Yes, I do.
What was it?
I was on the toilet.
Okay. And you were just thinking about it?
Pretty much.
I'm assuming you've been studying the business because you're in the collectibles business and learning a little bit about it and had this idea sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, I've followed eBay for a very long time, and I came to appreciate their experience, their moat in the collectibles space. But it's not just collectibles too. I mean, it's the refurbished tech piece of the business where GameStop, it's a big portion of our business, and it's a big portion of eBay's business too, and the secondhand business as well. So there were other things that I thought about where I could personally add value and might make sense for GameStop, but this one made sense for me personally, and it makes sense for GameStop.
So if you have studied eBay, what do you think the team did right in the early days? Was it simply the network effect and the business took off? And once they had the network, it was hard to break the moat? Was there anything about the formula or the consumer model or experience? Because you've said publicly, hey, eBay looks a lot like it did in the early days. Was there something about early management, early design principles, early engineering, anything that happened in the early stages of eBay that made it what it is today?
I look at basically the marketplace model where they had first mover advantage. So their ability to have first mover advantage and really be the like de facto marketplace online, including against Amazon, was significant. So that was really helpful. I wouldn't say that if you look in general at the growth in e-commerce, and you look at Amazon as an example that basically took the marketplace model, but also taking possession of first-party inventory, along with growing their marketplace, and like they ultimately scaled it, and they essentially did what Walmart was doing, but they did it online and at scale. I mean, obviously, you can't compare the two, but their focus on building a marketplace gave them a moat and staying power. But I wouldn't say that their execution was great. In the early days, it was great when it was founder operated. But since then, if you look at how much e-commerce has grown and how much market share they've given up to the likes of basically everyone, new competitors in the space that are very category focused, live shopping competitors picked off significant share from them, Shopify, social commerce, Amazon. eBay's been able to maintain a revenue base and generate earnings, but they haven't grown along with the rest of e-commerce. So, and if you look at how they've done most recently, I mean, they've basically, the business has stagnated up into the last few quarters, and their operating expenses are up significantly. So, it's not to say, you know, they are the de facto marketplace online, especially in certain categories, but that business should be significantly larger.
Do you think they missed the boat? And if so, why on stores? You know, Amazon stores, Shopify obviously have become categories unto themselves. All of those power sellers probably transitioned over to having stores at some point. What did eBay miss? Was it purely execution? And is there still an opportunity to win back that market?
eBay could, I mean, and I'm not advocating, I mean, this is not something I would not go head to head against Amazon today, but I mean, eBay could have been Amazon. So when you look at what Amazon has built, I mean, everything from taking inventory and their principles of, they provide a great customer experience. And so, I mean, that's why we all love shopping on Amazon. And as a seller, Seller Central is a very powerful platform, and sellers generally like it too. I don't know if they necessarily like the margins, but they can move a lot of inventory on Amazon. So eBay, by doing nothing, has basically carved out a niche in certain categories where Amazon isn't strong because they're strong in other categories. And, you know, you're buying a phone charger or new products. It's not necessarily the place where you want to search for like a unique baseball card or a hard to find pen or a used auto part. I don't know if it was necessarily through strategy or just because they ended up basically like defaulting into those categories because their largest competitor was focused on other things.
Do you think Amazon's over-earning right now? Because I think the point you make resonates with me. I've been involved in a number of businesses I've been on the board of, and I see the margin that Amazon takes from sellers, and everyone's frustrated about it. It almost feels to me like everyone's hungry for an alternative. But the reason you stay on Amazon is the reach and the audience that you get with Amazon. So there's not a lot of other places that offer a competitive alternative to Amazon to those sellers. eBay's got a pretty big audience. I mean, do you think that Amazon's over-earning in that sense? And is there an opportunity for eBay to step up and compete in that sense?
They charge a lot of money to their sellers. I agree with you. And sellers like it because they move a lot of inventory, but they don't like the margins.
The problem would obviously be inventory, right? I mean, if eBay were to go in that direction and you were running eBay, what do you think you do about inventory and logistics?
I would not be interested in taking in first-hand inventory. Right. I like the marketplace model and the categories where eBay is doing well are categories where GameStop is doing especially well also.
So guys, that's Ryan telling you he's not here to sell everything. He's not going to sell cell phones and chargers and what they're saying. What he's going to do is concentrate on products that you already have inventory of. People want to sell items in their home. They want to sell collectibles. GameStop sells collectibles. It's a parallel move. And you can capitalize on this. And one thing you can do is lower the prices that we charge people to do this, right? The fees themselves. And you make it attractive again to come back to eBay. Because people don't sell on eBay because, one, they got to jump through hoops. Two, there's a limit on how much you can sell. To limit you to 50 things a piece, I think it's what Ryan talked about when he went to put things for sale. He met friction. If you can make it frictionless and easier, you can increase your TAM, and that's your total addressable market cap for that said category. The categories they do well in, that they own other companies in, eBay, GameStop would do well and benefit from that. So it would amplify what GameStop currently does, and GameStop has a business model in the physical world that is netting 40% plus, 50% plus. Could you imagine what they do with eBay added on to that? So it looks good. Looks good from what he's saying. We'll get back to it. Let's go.
So, but going head to head against Amazon is it's not the most attractive business.
eBay is notorious for having bought and then sold a number of big businesses. They bought PayPal and then later spun it out and divested, and they bought Skype for $2.6 billion in 2005 and then sold 70% of it for $2 billion in 2009. And then they got lucky with Microsoft overpaying in 2011, and they made another $2 billion on it. So they netted a good profit on the Skype sale. So when you think about the audience that eBay has, the user base, there's a lot of ancillary businesses you could get into. When you look at PayPal, when you look at Skype, were those strategic errors or were they tactical errors, meaning they were good strategic moves, but they were mismanaged and not well integrated, not well run after the acquisition? What do you think happened there?
Well, if you look today at eBay, I mean, I like focus. So them focusing on core eBay makes sense. I mean, my strategy at Chewy wasn't creating all these other sub-brands for different geographies. It was always focusing on Chewy. So the focus is helpful. I'd say in eBay's case hasn't resulted in significant GMV growth, if at all, or earnings growth. But I do like being focused. Now, I mean, they've recently made acquisitions, which don't make sense. But generally speaking, like, I like focusing on a singular brand, and especially with a business that's global, there's a lot of upside, and eBay plays in a ton of categories already. So it's hard to do multiple things exceptionally well.
Yeah, the other example, obviously, is StubHub, which they bought and then sold to the founder, Eric, at Viagogo for $4 billion years later, but also didn't really transition well. Does that mean that eBay can't really do well in other marketplaces, or do you think it's about building the product organically in a better way to expand into other marketplace verticals?
Yeah, building it organically through eBay and through focus is where I believe makes the most sense.
What's happened with the business in the post Donahoe era? He left, I think, what did he leave a couple of years ago? 2015. And it's been about 11 years. I mean, if someone were to ask you, hey, give me your summary of what's happened to eBay in the last 11 years, how would you kind of talk through what's happened in the business? I
mean, if you just look at how they've done in the past since COVID, every important metric is down. GMV is down, active users is down by 30 million, operating earnings is down. Revenue now is basically essentially break even. It's up a few points, and operating expenses is up significantly. Their operating expenses now are, for a business that has no inventory, their operating expenses are over half of their revenues. So that's a business that they're not growing. Everybody else in e-commerce is growing, and they're making less money, and they're spending a lot more. And their sellers, frankly, aren't happy. Like, you talk to sellers, and in order for them to do business on eBay, they have to use all kinds of third-party tools outside of eBay, because eBay's not even providing those tools. I mean, Amazon Seller Central is is like soup to nuts. You could pretty much do everything in Seller Central. Whereas with eBay, it's a pain, and they alienate their sellers. I mean, they had concierge programs for their top sellers, and now it's like they take their sellers for granted, and they're taking advantage of them. So the sellers, in a marketplace model like eBay, the sellers are the customer. You make your sellers happy, you give them the tools, they bring more inventory online, and you end up ultimately doing more sales, and they're not working with their sellers to make them happy. So it's not that complicated. You talk to the sellers on the phone, you talk to the top sellers, you ask them what are the pain points, and you get the engineering team on the phone with the sellers, and you start basically banging them out. But, I guess existing management team doesn't roll up they're not going to roll up their sleeves. They're going to go to outside consulting firms to tell them how to run their business.
Is that
So I want to explain what Ryan's saying, because if you guys run a business, if you guys are ever wondering like the identity of your business and what you can do, I'm going to give you this example, and I don't know if it's the right example, but it's one. Let's just say you owned a company that did landscaping. Okay, let's just call it that. You do landscaping, and you're known for cutting lawns. That is the nuts and bolts of your company. We cut lawns. Somewhere in there, you go ahead and offer an additional service. We cut trees. Okay? Trees are a once a year thing. It's not a forever thing. It's a once a year thing, but we still focused on lawns. In addition to doing lawns, we offer a haul away service where we get rid of your trash. Cool. We offer that as well. We then offer a site where you can rent a trailer and or storage. You get where I'm coming from? You can do so many different things, but what is the core function of your company? It's cutting lawns. If your name was Rico Lawn Care, we actually cut your grass. It's all about the cutting the lawns. We can get rid of the cutting the trees and the ladders and the people it takes. We can get rid of the storage area. We can get rid of all of that. We have to focus on our core category. And if eBay were to focus on their core category, which is the sellers, there's already a marketplace, the buyers, the consumers, but if you take care of the product itself, the sellers, this is who gives you your inventory to sell on your marketplace. If they were to take care of their sellers, well, then it would then in turn take care of them. But that's not the case. And that's what Ryan's trying to tell you. That when you run a business and you're talking about the core item, the core category that you sell, you should focus on it. And that's what currently is not happening. So I hope that kind of explained it in a roundabout way.
that what's happened? What you state seems obvious. So do you think it's that management's simply been complacent and collecting a paycheck and no one's acting like an owner? No one actually knows how to execute? Or do you think they fundamentally would disagree with that strategy, those points that you're making?
Well, I mean, they're never going to admit it, but I would bet everything that they're working with multiple outside consultants and for a lot of different reasons, and they're not making their sellers happy. So their sellers are on the platform because they do a lot of business on the platform and they want to move product, but they don't feel like eBay wants to make them succeed and is working with them to do more business together. So that's what happens when you go from a business that founder, operator run to business with a professional management team is, you lose the one-on-one and the rolling up your sleeves, really getting into solving the root cause of problems.
Do you believe in building long-range operating plans? Meaning, would you articulate a strategic vision for eBay and then write out what you're going to do over the next 3, 4, 5 years so that the shareholders that are considering your acquisition offer can see both your vision and your plan for execution on that vision over the next several years? Or are you much more of a responsive manager where you're going to go in and diagnose and be much more of a tactician in iterating almost in an agile way the business to success. How do you kind of think about presenting how you're going to be more successful in operating this business than existing management?
So there are three areas. Number one is on immediately improving earnings through cutting costs and pulling $2 billion of costs out of the business. And on the operating base of close to $5.5 billion of expenses, and $2.4 billion spent on sales and marketing for essentially no user growth, there's a lot of money to pull out there. So you have the immediate increase in earnings through cost cutting. That's basically one. And then there's two growth vectors that I'm very much interested in. Number one is live commerce. And there's a large competitor that is completely crushing it. And eBay has the users. eBay has the brands. They have a platform.
He's talking about Whatnot. So Whatnot is a large competitor in addition to TikTok. So that's who's killing it. And can we beat them? You're damn right we can.
But the platform sucks for a lot of different reasons. And they don't have the content creators on the platform, and nobody even really knows eBay Live exists. There's like an application process. I talked to sellers and they're telling me like they've applied to be a seller and they are waiting to get approved. It's like they're basically stopping themselves from being successful and getting content creators onto the platform. And then the entire back end of eBay Live also sucks. So live commerce, the TAM is like 400 billion. It's growing very quickly in the US. It's very popular in Asia. And eBay Live should be significantly larger. They should be the category leader in the space. And they have like at max a few hundred people, in basically watching their sales. So that's a huge growth opportunity for them to start doing really well in live commerce. And the benefit also we have with the stores beyond basically fixing the platform, the front end and the back end, using the stores, there's 1,600 essentially nodes that can be used as studios for creators. They could be used as fulfillment and logistics, and ultimately allowing sellers and the content creators to do what they do best, to just create content. And we can help them on photography, we can help them on fulfillment, we can help them on logistics. And we can also do the authentication. And that extends to the marketplace model as well. So I would focus a lot on growing the live commerce side of things beyond the cost cutting. And then the third thing is, and this is something that I have not spoken about before publicly, but eBay today is the leader in physical items, physical collectibles, as an example. And so I would extend that into digital collectibles. And essentially, if you look at all of these in-game items, AAA titles that people are accumulating, skins, weapons, all of these things, taking eBay and building a marketplace where you can provide liquidity for in-game digital items. Essentially, it's what NFTs could have, people thought they were, but ultimately they had no real utility. In-game items actually have real utility. And if you look at all of these collectibles, frankly, they're an ego play. You own art, like, what is that? At the end of the day, it's an ego play.
Oh God, let me tell you. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys something that some of you will remember, some of you guys will not believe, but this is something that is so revolutionary if you understand where we've been. See, GameStop was one of the leaders of the new NFT marketplace. And it was one thing to do NFTs, artwork, music. We kind of figured out that. But what I had said at the time, if people watch the videos, you can go watch them. It's fine. I said that GameStop figured something out. And it was like they figured it out, but they didn't want to tell anyone. They figured out that they knew how to onboard and off-ramp cryptocurrency in addition to buying products that are tied to a blockchain. They're associating a blockchain to a digital asset. This has never been done before, but you saw it happening with Immutable. Guys, Immutable X is a company, a AAA studio company that makes video games that are meant for this type of transaction. If you got all the gaming studios to buy in on this and build the products and you trade and you market them this way, then all those skins you buy and all the guns and the maps, everything you buy, you can essentially trade and sell them yourself from peer to peer. We've done this before, but there are games out there that when this came out, it was like GameStop said, well, we've got to stop this because the SEC is regulating crypto and they're coming in and they're sweeping blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, now we found a way to get away from that angle. And now Ryan's telling you as a new presentation. Okay, this is very different. I get it. But it's risk-free. That's my point. It's not going to put anyone in harm's way. There's not going to be an excess inventory, and it didn't make sense. Ryan has always said he's going to do something where you can benefit the most from that idea or whatever it may be. Power Packs is a great example. But this is phenomenal. Because that just means that all that time that he took into the NFT marketplace and that area and those developers, if you guys remember, we put in so much money and time that maybe that's the foundation of what it really took to be here today. So I'm intrigued. I'm not saying it's a bona fide $1 trillion idea. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that these are out of the box thinkings. And for him to say it out loud, it would roll around in eBay's boardroom. They wouldn't know what to say or do because they have no clue. Nor does the rest of the world. There's not a single CEO, chairman of the board of the S&P 500 company that can tell you how to do it better than Ryan Cohen right now. So I'm all in. I love it. And we'll keep going with this and then I'll read your comments. And yes, Off the Grid, the video game, if you guys are not familiar with that game, Google it. Off the Grid. It has all the color makings of GameStop, whatever it may be, but it allows you to get NFTs, as they call them, non-fungible tokens, but digital assets in a real world and to trade them back and forth to each other. Right here, it says, if you're an eBay board member, you better pray the institutional investors ain't seeing this interview. He's laying out how he will 100x their money. Absolutely. He already showed me, and that's why I'll keep buying GameStop shares till the day I die.
If you look at trading cards, I mean, it's a piece of cardboard in a piece of plastic, and they're very, very, very popular, but there's no real utility to them other than being able to tell people you've got a really unique trading card. But if you look at in-game digital items, there's no marketplace that is providing liquidity for them. And so I would use eBay to provide liquidity for in-game digital items. And I believe that addressable market is significantly larger than, could be much larger than eBay's marketplace on physical items, and no one's doing it. And this should already exist. And it's kind of like, it's crazy that it doesn't exist.
The eBay board has rejected your offer. Is it that they're looking at Ryan Cohen saying, hey, you're a guy that ran Chewy for a few years and sold it, and you've been running GameStop. You've never really operated a business of this scale. We're not going to hand over our shares for your shares and put you in charge of this overall enterprise. You don't have the experience. You don't have the skills. You don't have the competency. What's their rationale for rejecting your bid? And what's the feedback, the frank feedback you've heard either behind closed doors or through, third parties about what's going on here?
Well, they put out a rejection letter, which said that our offer was incredible. And there was a lot of uncertainty. And, frankly, And by the way, I mean, this is expected. They don't want to hand over the reins. They're making a lot of money. And so I completely understand why they're taking the position that they're taking. But, you know, they spelled it out in the rejection letter. And number one was, you know, that like the financing uncertainty, which frankly, if we can't get the financing, it means that eBay can't get the financing because we're getting the financing off of eBay's balance sheet. But there has not been very much engagement from the management board level. Frankly, there's been really no engagement. I mean, they're playing games. They pointed us to their high-priced advisors, and then when we reach out to schedule a meeting, they don't schedule the meeting. So
when you first started having this idea sitting on the John, and you're like, I'm going to move forward with this thing, I'm assuming at some point you called bankers and talked about structure around this to figure out how do we put this bid together. Where did you go down the path where you said, let's do half cash and then convince them to take our stock and basically roll their stock into our stock and let us run the business, versus raise the capital to do an all cash offer for the company? Is it impossible for you guys to convince shareholders, investors, capital providers, large institutions, banks, lenders, and so on, to put together a syndicate of $56 billion of cash so you could make this an all cash offer, which would make it a lot harder for them to simply reject so easily? Maybe you can walk us through the banker conversations and the process you've gone through in thinking about structure here.
ultimately, the decision is, who do you want to run the business? And who do you think is more competent to run the business, and who's going to maximize shareholder value? Because by giving existing shareholders GameStop shares, GameStop, the combined company, at least in the very near to medium future, the earnings are coming from eBay. So they're going to continue owning eBay. We're offering them 50% cash, 50% stock at a premium to where we bought it. And essentially they get to continue owning eBay, except you've got someone that is highly incentivized to maximize shareholder value, knows a thing or two about e-commerce and running the business efficiently.
But why not go all cash, Ryan? Like, why not raise the capital? If you can raise half the cash to do the bid, why not raise all the cash, sell your shares, sell GameStop shares to investors to raise the cash that are aligned with you, rather than the investors that own those eBay shares, and then go make them an all cash offer?
I mean, that is not what we've presented to date, and that's a lot of cash to come up with. So, we don't have $60 billion of cash just lying around.
Right. Well, tell me about the owners. Have you spoken to any of the shareholders at eBay, and do you have a view?
Yet. We don't have 60 billion. He should have said, we don't have that type of cash yet. That's what he should have said, but it's okay. I'm taking this all in. Guys, this is a glorious night for me. It should be for you too.
You on how they're thinking about voting their shares. My understanding is there was recently a rejection on the ability to call a special shareholder meeting. There was a vote that failed to reduce the threshold to 10% of shares outstanding. It's currently at 20%. So that failure means you cannot call a special shareholder meeting without 20% of the shares calling for it. Is that right?
Yeah, and so, it was close, but that's right.
And so if you go through and start talking to the actual owners of eBay today, because it's a pretty broadly owned, institutionally owned stock, have you started having those institutional conversations to see where folks are at and how they're feeling about management and how they're feeling about your strategy and your ability to deliver value for them over the next couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into individual shareholder discussions, but
yeah,
the consensus has generally been aligned, which is they love the business, and yeah, they see a lot of opportunities. So we'll see what ends up ultimately happening, and maybe the composition could shift because, you know, if you love the business, you might not want 50% cash. You might want to stay invested. So, you know, that's a possibility too. Ultimately, the vote is on who's going to be a better fiduciary of capital and who can grow this business. Me or someone that's basically selling stock hand over fist. And by the way, has not bought a single share of stock.
Hold on. Did you hear that? I don't know if people are understanding what he just said. Okay? He's saying he's had conversations, and he didn't want to talk about who, but that they don't want to take money off the table at all. So if you're willing to show that you own X amount of shares, I just want people to understand what this comes down to. If you have the votes, you can move mountains. You don't have to buy anything. You can just take it in. They could do nothing if you have the votes. If you have the votes, they will be like, we want you to be our CEO. You're hired. They're fired. That type of deal. So, man, that's a bad man right there. Hey, he's not telling you shit. And I love it.
Stock in the open market with his own money and has been selling tens of millions of dollars. And, you know, the interesting thing in this, and maybe you can help me understand this, is that there's no question what we're doing, what I'm doing is it's big. You know, it's not every single day that something like this occurs. But why does everybody want us to fail? Why does everyone want GameStop to fail? And why is everyone, like the media as an example, why is it that you've got a management team with no skin in the game? They're not builders. They haven't built anything themselves before. They've basically just been employees at major companies, have been overpaid. I don't think they've ever broken out a sweat in their entire lives. Why does everyone want them to succeed? But when you have someone that, and by the way, this is going to be coming out. It hasn't been filed yet. Maybe by the time that, you know, when this airs, it will be. But I'm putting $500 million of my own money into this transaction. I haven't pulled a penny out of GameStop. I've invested a lot of money into GameStop. I've been doing it for a long time. GameStop's a much stronger business today. Everyone hates GameStop, and it seems like everyone in the media basically wants us to fail and wants them to succeed. And you've got a board that's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. They don't buy stock with their own money. They end up showing up to a handful of board meetings, and they're making a fortune. You've got a management team that is grossly overpaid with taking zero risk. And why does everyone basically want this entrenched management team and board to stay like protected and to continue running the business, and doesn't want, there's nothing more American than basically risking your own capital. So why does everyone want us to fail?
Commentators. What's your theory?
I don't know.
Have you sat down with their CEO?
I would love to.
He won't take the meeting?
I will fly to California tomorrow. No.
And I mean, you're the guy that's going to fire him. But he's going to get a payday, right?
A big payday.
A big payday.
And
What's his parachute?
Golden parachute.
Do you know what the parachute is for him?
It's over $100 million.
So he'll get $100 million to walk away.
Yeah.
Have you met with any of the board members?
No.
They won't take the meeting.
Nope.
Have you reached out?
Yeah.
The great thing about markets, they don't care what the media says. On the short term, they might. It's a voting machine. But on the long term, it's a weighing machine. And if the performance continues to be delivered at GameStop, people that might want to see the company fail are going to lose because you're going to get the weight, right? That's ultimately what's going to matter more than anything here. But I would assume that at this point, seeing the results at GameStop, folks have to start paying attention that this isn't just a meme stock. I do think that the media in order to give you credibility, and this would be my take on this, they're going to have to acknowledge that all of their takes on GameStop just being a meme stock were wrong. And that there is actually a business here, and that there is value being created here, and that they missed that, and they got the story completely wrong. And so to recognize that, and to recognize your competency as an executive and as a CEO and as someone that can run eBay better than the installed management, makes them wrong in their assessment of how the cards were all laid out on the table. That would be my theory about all this. Because everyone got caught up in the frenzy of the meme stock craze saying, hey, this is all just fake. It's not real. And everyone agreed with that. Once everyone agrees with it, no one's allowed to rewrite history. No one can ever say that they were wrong about COVID. You can't have everyone say that they were wrong about GameStop because it ruins their credibility. To maintain their credibility, they have to continue to make you seem less credible. That would be my take on it.
Yeah. Yep.
So your next steps, you're going to go hostile? You're going to do a tender? I mean, how's this going to go?
Hey guys, that's the greatest take ever on GameStop and Ryan Cohen. He told you that the media refuses to be wrong. If all stock analysts, if the media of all of them are proven wrong, just like it was about, the vid and or 9/11 and or the moon or any other thing, don't be that guy. Don't be the conspiracy theorist. Don't be the man who calls it the way you see it. Do not be Chicken Little. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. That's been me this whole time for almost 6 years. It will be by the time we buy this damn thing. But for 5.5 years, I have been saying GameStop is the greatest investment and it's everything I want it to be. And it found its way to this moment tonight. This is living proof. Ryan is buying that damn company. He has the backers. He's going to make a credible presentation. He's putting in $500 million himself. You show me an executive right now that's willing to do this with cash money, not shares that they sold, with cash money, as in, here's what I am. I'm not diluting current shareholders. I'm putting in $500 million myself while taking off his compensation package off the table. What other angle can they play against you? Because you can call him something that he's not, and now you get to look at it. And when he said it's a scale, that is so true. It's not that it tells you GameStop, the price itself. You have to start stacking on earnings and cash and value. That will move a scale. Then eventually people all come on to you because you're too heavy. You're too undervalued. It becomes very, very obvious to the world that when a company's making $2 trillion this year, and yet they're only netting a return of a $21 stock, it's going to blow people's mind that they're trading at $2 to $3 EPS. Yeah. It'll blow your mind because you can't buy it for less than 10. You can't buy it for less than 15. And I'm talking PE ratios. I'm not talking dollars. You got to know the difference in the talk. So GameStop out here earning $2 to $3 a share is where they're going to be headed right now. Guys, even at $2 and the average stock is trading at 34 on a PE ratio on this S&P nonsense, you would have to give GameStop $70 a share. Yeah. The leverage is in our play. The weight is in our play. So great take on GameStop. I love that. We got 3 minutes left. Here we go.
I'm going to do whatever.
Oh, and by the way, he just asked him, is he going to do a TO or what's he going to do? That's a tender offer, which he already made. They're going to make another one, or a hostile takeover. Let's see how it plays out.
Everyone agreed with that. Once everyone agrees with it, no one's allowed to rewrite history. No one can ever say that they were wrong about COVID. You can't have everyone say that they were wrong about GameStop because it ruins their credibility. To maintain their credibility, they have to continue to make you seem less credible. That would be my take on it.
Yeah. Yep.
So your next steps, you're going to go hostile? You're going to do a tender? I mean, how's this going to go?
I'm going to do whatever we need to do, whatever I need to do in order to succeed.
But you're committed. Clearly.
Yeah.
If I'm their bankers, I get hired to run a process and maximize shareholder value. Those bankers then try and negotiate with you. But the truth is, if there's no other bidders, they're just negotiating against themselves. Is that fair to say? Like, are there other bidders that could emerge here that could beat this price that you're offering, that could beat this offer that you're putting on the table?
Well, it's a lot of money. It's a big premium. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And like, it makes sense for me to pay this for the business because of what I could do with the business, not just short term in terms of increasing the earnings, but long term in terms of really taking significant market share in live commerce and building a digital marketplace for gaming. That's something an existing management team would never be able to build in their wildest dreams. And so it's worth it for me to do something like that. And then, obviously, when it comes to their large competitors, there's antitrust issues in terms of them being able to do a deal of this size as well. But I don't know why they won't speak to me. They should, because I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to go away. But
another option. Yeah. I mean, people could come along and buy the shares on the open market too and vote in favor of your offer. So, I mean, this is what often happens in these sorts of situations historically is the shareholder base can turn over. And if people like the premium on the stock today and they don't want to own GameStop stock tomorrow, there's probably going to develop a good market for trading the shares if the market starts to believe your story, I would imagine, right? And so that might happen here as well. So look,
there's a lot of different escalation paths that we have in our toolkit.
And we'll see them. Are you working with bankers or are you doing this alone?
You guys,
Yeah,
listen. Listen. And he's going to explain, we're working with bankers, okay? He said there's a lot of different escalation paths that we have in our kit. That means he's ready. They've already talked to every single advisor you can think of, and they gave him every avenue to do this. This is orchestrated, and he's going to execute. And I just want to say thank you for all the gifts and the jewels and all that stuff. I know they don't do super chats so much here on this platform because they wanted to get into this jewel thing via TikTok. So I just want to say thank you for the support of the channel. I don't want people to think like I'm not being thankful for you guys, but I promise you I am. We're just kicking ass tonight. This is the greatest interview of your lifetime. If you're a GameStop investor, if you're a Ryan Cohen guy, after 5.5 years of grinding, this is where you want to be, people. You want to be at the top of the mountain with the world watching, and they're saying, damn it, Ryan, I know you can do it. And people believe in him, or he wouldn't be on an actual, this is a Stock Bros channel, guys. This is presented by NASDAQ on the All In podcast, where he had lunch with this guy 15 years ago, 10 years ago, when he was born into the Billionaires Ballers Club. We're calling in the chips. We're here. We're not doing Boss Blunt's interviews. We're not doing trade interviews. We're doing this interview right now.
GameStop stock tomorrow, there's probably going to develop a good market for trading the shares if the market starts to believe your story, I would imagine, right? And so that might happen here as well. So look,
there's a lot of different escalation paths that we have in our toolkit.
And we'll see them. Are you working with bankers or are you doing this alone?
Yeah, we're working with bankers and high-priced advisors.
Well, look, Ryan, this has been awesome to get to know you and hear about your history and your vision for where you want to take GameStop and eBay. Really, man, the best of luck to you in the process. And thanks for speaking with us.
I appreciate it. Great speaking to you, Dave.
I have seen every single GameStop interview, Ryan Cohen interview for the last, goodness gracious. Well, I've gone back in time, so maybe 7-8 years. I've seen everything I could. We're all hungry for Ryan Cohen info. That's the greatest thing I've ever seen. If you understand where they're headed, how they're going to get there, and with the world betting against them and telling you no. Now, Ryan doesn't come out and say why, why is the world betting against me, or why is everyone against what's going to happen here? And I'm okay with that, Ryan. We don't have to play into those narratives of crime and synthetic nonsense. That doesn't matter to me. This is business, and this is business 101. If you're invested with GameStop tonight, awesome. If you're not, even better. You watch that, you understand where we're headed, you understand what this company can do, and it's at the cheapest price I've ever seen. I was reading something that said implied volatility on GameStop is at the lowest level since 2018. Yeah. Options are not on it. Stock is not on it. When they present this at this annual shareholders meeting, there is a reason why they pushed it back. Let this be the reason. Let you see this proposal come up tomorrow or the next day. But it's going to happen after hours when it gets released. And it's going to be credible. It's going to be attractive. And they get to find out just how serious Ryan is. He has different avenues of approach on this, levels of escalation. He's going to buy this company. He's going to take this company. We're going to own this damn thing. And wouldn't you love to be in at 21 and some change? You think about it. I don't have to. I'm all in, and I have been for years. It feels really good. It feels really good to know that when I'm sitting at the country club and we're sipping on lemonade and we're watching the kids and we're watching the grandkids and everybody says, hey, how'd you get to this lifestyle? How'd you make it this far? And I get to say, well, I'm just visiting. I don't live here. I never spend this kind of money. What the hell? I'm a GameStop investor. We don't spend that type of money. No, real talk. I made it. You made it. I want to thank all of you for the love and support of the show. I know it's the number one spot where people watch for GameStop info. We've been doing it for so many years. But how many things have we gotten right? Ryan Cohen tonight got everything right for you. Whether it be the failed investments and or the times that they made bad decisions as a company, they have learned from every single one. I've always told you this. You can learn from good and bad, what to do and what not to do. And in this case right now, Ryan Cohen is showing you the next step for your investment and your future. As a GameStop investor, I couldn't be more happy. For eBay investors, I'm nervous for your board of directors, not for you as investors. I think you guys should know your shares are safe because they're going to turn into GameStop shares. They really are. GameStop is the vehicle. GameStop is the company. Ryan Cohen is the name. Remember it. It'll be written in stone. I love every single one of you guys, and I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. It's GameStop. Can't stop, won't stop, GameStop. I'm going to see you around, millionaires. Peace.